And our Chris Williams was in downtown when this explosion happened. He heard the boom. He joins us now live by phone with the latest. Chris, what did you see and hear?
Well, Caroline, I was in downtown Durham and we heard this loud explosion. And then a few seconds later, we started to see white smoke come up from downtown. So, of course, I raced over here to the location.
Our Chris Williams was in downtown Durham when this all happened. You actually heard the explosion, Chris, just after chatting with the mayor, other city officials, because the city's actually celebrating its 150th birthday today.
Yes, they are. This is the day that Durham celebrates 150 years, and I was talking to the mayor about that. After that interview, I heard an explosion and raced down here to Brightleaf Square. Here on the scene behind me, crews are still out here. We did see the police chief, C.J. Davis, come out here, and she walked down there. She's not talking to us just yet, but you can still see the fire has cleared up a little bit. It was really black just a few minutes ago. We do have several agencies out here on the scene. Several roads are blocked off. I do want to talk to someone who was in the area when the explosion happened. Jasmine Webb, you said you were hanging out with friends when this explosion happened. What did you see, hear, or feel?
We were on the street, and all you feel is a big boom. The whole street rattled. And we all ducked thinking something blew up. Well, we were like, all we saw was big puff. So we got closer. This lady was crying. And I was getting closer and closer. And you could see fire flames. And everybody's coming out their house thinking trees were falling. And
what did you think at first?
I thought, to be honest, I thought something went down between rivals and something blew up.
And did you smell gas? I heard some people smell gas shortly after the explosion.
I smelled something funny before then. And then when the blew up, you could definitely smell it.
Now, I saw you wearing a scarf around your mouth nose earlier. Was that because of the smell?
Yeah, and the smoke. I got weak lungs, and I can't be around this.
Well, hopefully you stay safe. Thank goodness you're safe. And so, Caroline, as I was saying, we're still waiting to get more information from Durham Police about what exactly happened or caused this gas explosion. We do know we're in the Brightleaf Square section of the city. A lot of warehouses now that have been renovated to bring in businesses here. But we're going to stay out here and keep you updated throughout the day. Caroline?
Spectrum News has team coverage of the deadly gas explosion. Our Ryan Breslin is outside of Duke Regional Hospital. David Ivy is monitoring the developments from a residential complex near the blast zone. And we begin now with our Chris Williams in downtown Durham, the scene of today's deadly explosion. Chris, what can you tell us?
Well, Tara, it is still a very active scene, and we have made our way closer to that blast site. Take a look behind me. You can see the impact of that explosion. The windows are blown out of this nearby building. The frame has been bent inwards into it. You can see it, and this is just an example of the other buildings that you would see near this blast site. Now, I spent the day talking with witnesses and people who work in the area. They are shocked and devastated that this happened.
We just heard a really loud boom.
Scary moments Wednesday for many people who work near the blast site.
We didn't know quite what to make of it. The building shook and the lights went off temporarily, so we decided to evacuate.
Flames raged as heavy black smoke rose and hovered over the Brightleaf Square area of Durham.
We heard a big explosion. Next thing you know, you see smoke and debris fly, and you hear people screaming, and you hear sirens going off.
The whole street rattled. And we all ducked thinking something blew up. Well, we were like, all we saw was big puff.
Police ordered people to evacuate the area as they closed many surrounding roads. At first, people didn't know what happened.
After that, of course, everyone was confused. And all that we could see from the street is that cars were stopped and whatnot.
Bystanders crowded the police tape trying to get a glimpse of the scene and learn any details. Now that they know what happened, some say they feel uneasy about returning to the area once it's all cleared.
Probably be a little bit concerned, but yeah, I mean, I work down here. Things like this happen, unfortunately, but I don't think it's gonna ruin my life or anything.
It is obvious that cleanup here is going to take days. Police have blocked off the area, telling people not to come to the Brightleaf Square area for the time being. They do have many roads closed off. No word on how long that will last. In Durham, Chris Williams, Spectrum News.
The windows.
Ryan Jones runs a Mexican restaurant. He was one of the last customers at the nearby Cafe coffee shop before the explosion leveled the building Wednesday. It also killed the owner, 61-year-old Kung Lee.
Pretty normal day. Got here, dropped my truck off, walked down, kind of opened the restaurant, walked down, got a cup of coffee, croissant, came back.
Jones even chatted with Lee, not knowing he would neither see him nor the coffee shop again.
He even commented, he's like, oh, your next one's free, because I have the Cafe card, and so I just got my stamp for the free one for next time.
Hours later, he stood outside when he heard the explosion.
Out of nowhere, just crazy loud sound, like windows vibrating.
Lee first opened the shop in October 2017. This is what the inside of the shop used to look like. More than 24 people were hurt in the blast. Many are sending their cares and thoughts on social media.
We want to express our condolences to the family and the friends of him, because we know this is a very difficult time for them.
Jones still can't comprehend what happened. He can't even put his feelings into words.
Don't know yet. Still kind of proud.
We're getting a closer look at the damage left behind. You can see the pile of rubble and debris from the blast, and next door you can see the damage to the restaurant, which is now condemned. Experts say this could be the beginning of legal troubles for the city and involved companies.
Some of the questions I have is who is responsible for causing this to occur.
Attorney Forrest Horn has tried several cases similar to the gas line explosion Wednesday in Durham. He is not involved in this tragedy, but believes the investigation could take months.
In virtually all of these cases involving explosions, someone failed to do something they should have done or did something that they should not have done.
The State Department of Labor confirms it's looking into the catastrophe. Officials want to determine what caused the accident, if any violations occurred, or if any standards need to change. Attorney Gary Jackson is also not involved in the case, but says
the first step is determine the cause and the source, and then the responsibility. Whose fault was it? And I think they're piecing all those parts together.
The blast injured more than 24 people. It also killed the Cafe coffee shop owner, Kung Lee. The impact destroyed and damaged nearby buildings. Some restaurants, businesses, and shops remain closed. Both legal experts say city and involved utility companies could face several lawsuits.
If there was negligence, then they would be responsible for all the damages.
We did reach out to the Federal Chemical Safety Board to see if it's launching an investigation. We have yet to hear back from officials. In Durham, Chris Williams, Spectrum News. Durham city officials say it will take some time to determine the exact financial loss to the city after that gas line explosion. Some businesses remain closed, but some are back open, eager to get the Bull City roaring again.
Sounded kind of like a rocket.
James Kennedy runs an antique and art shop in Durham. Last Wednesday, he was getting ready for customers when he heard the gas line explosion 2 blocks away in Brightleaf Square.
So we went outside to see, and by that time, of course, there was fire and smoke coming up from over.
It's still unclear what ignited the inferno after crew workers severed a gas line. The blast injured more than 24 people and killed a coffee shop owner, Kung Lee. It also blew out a few display lights at Kennedy's store.
Door at the same spot. Both came out.
In the hours and days following the catastrophe, the city shut down many nearby businesses. Some still are condemned after shock waves busted out windows and damaged buildings. Kennedy was able to keep his shop open, but the tragedy and road closures kept customers away, causing a dip in revenue.
Basically, when you lose traffic, you lose business.
He has yet to determine the exact financial loss.
It puts you in a hole that you're trying to dig out of.
The city is drafting a letter for Governor Roy Cooper to declare an emergency. That would allow businesses to receive financial aid.
We know that the small business loan is going to help them, help take care of employees that have not been able to work, help them pay their bills.
Kennedy says for now he's staying afloat, but he doesn't know how much longer he can go without assistance or dipping into his reserves.
Not much to do, just ride it out.
City officials hope to hear back from the governor by the end of the week. As for the buildings that are condemned, no word on their futures as crews continue to inspect them. In Durham, Chris Williams, Spectrum News. Donna Jackson says her brother-in-law, Jay Rambo, has worked on gas leaks for more than 2 decades. She never thought of the day where he wouldn't return home from work.
We never discussed the possibility of something like this.
On April 10th, the Dominion Energy employee responded to an emergency on Duke Street after a contractor severed a gas line. Minutes later, an explosion erupted. The blast killed a coffee shop owner, Kung Lee. More than 24 people got hurt, including Rambo.
Multiple broken ribs. Sternum is fractured in 2 spots. Possible hearing loss and loss of sight in his right eye.
He's currently in a coma at the UNC Burn Center. His prognosis unclear. Jackson set up a GoFundMe page to raise money for the family.
We don't know what the future holds, but we feel a little more comfortable now that he's going to have a future.
The eruption also injured 9 Durham firefighters. Most are cleared to return to work except for Darren Wheeler, who's still recovering.
He's got a long path ahead of him, but everything should be going fine. I have spoken to him, and he's doing pretty well.
Several memorials for the victims continue to grow near the blast site. This right here spells out Bull City strong. As for Rambo, Jackson says she can't wait until he comes to and sees all of the support. She also knows if the tables were turned, he would do the same.
If it was one of his co-workers in this situation, he would have been the one saying, okay, what can we do to help him or his family?
A caring man in much need of the gift he has given to others. In Durham, Chris Williams, Spectrum News. More than 100 people came here to pay their final respect to Kung Lee. They were handed these note cards with his picture on it. For the first time, we are hearing from Lee's children. They say their father was a hard-working South Korean immigrant who lived the American dream. An emotional farewell to a beloved Durham coffee shop owner.
We have come here today in this time, in this place.
Many mourners came to New Horizon Church to celebrate the life and legacy of Kung Lee.
And that is who Kung Lee was. A man that would go without so that his family could have.
His only daughter teared up as she said her father did more than serve customers a cup of joe.
But I hope we will all remember him, his kindness, his struggles, his hard work, and we will honor his memory by making him proud.
The 61-year-old immigrated from South Korea, building a family in the business brand. He and his 2 children opened the Caffeinated Coffee Shop in 2017. Last month, a gas leak triggered an explosion in front of the shop, destroying the building and killing Lee.
We went to the beach and the pool a lot, and he'd do handstands and cartwheels and other tricks to make us laugh.
Lee also loved to dance and listen to Tom Jones. The family played a song as a tribute.
The green, green grass of home.
When I graduate from pharmacy school, I'm going to miss him. And when my brother and I get married, we're going to miss him. And when we have children, we're going to miss him.
No word yet if the family plans to rebuild the Caffeinated Coffee Shop, but the children say they hope to serve another cup of coffee in honor of their father. In Durham, Chris Williams, Spectrum News.